Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining this episode of Cults and Overcoming. So I'm pretty excited today. My guest is someone that came out of Restoration City. She went through the rehab part of it, was there from 2006 to 2008, and is here to tell some of her story and those experiences. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome Vicki.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Or do people say Vicki or Vickilynne?
Vickilynne.
Vickilynne.
Yeah,
Okay.
I go by Vickilynne just because my mother and I have the same name.
Oh, okay. Vickilynne.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been calling you Vicki all these years.
That's fine. Most people do.
You should have told me.
Yeah. Yeah, at school it's Victoria, so it's like I just have
Ooh.
yeah.
Okay. So Vicki, Victoria, or Vickilynne.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you like better?
I prefer Vickilynne.
Okay. Yeah, it's very different. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited because you left in about 2008-ish, I guess. Mm-hmm. And we, for about a year, we became pretty good friends. We connected. I don't even remember how. But then about after a year, you ended up moving and stuff. So and everything. So I'm excited just to be able to reconnect and talk to you again and hear some of the stories, because I don't think I really have heard some of your time there. So if you just want to kind of start from the beginning and just why you went there in the first place.
Okay. I ended up at StraightWay because I was in a program prior to that called Senecor in Houston, and it was awful. It was so awful. So basically the patients run the facility. They run all the discipline, they do all the meals, they do everything. And there was so much sex and drugs in there that it was so dysfunctional. It was so like I've been to jail, and when you're in jail for a period of time, you have no choice but to acclimate to the world that you're in. Mm-hmm. Or you fall out and then it's not a happy place. You want, because everybody wants connection and wants to be able to function, and it was the same way in Senecor. So it was just not a good thing. And then
was that prison or was that rehab you were saying?
It's a rehab, but it's like an alternative to prison. Because I was making funny money.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I went to a bank to do something, and I was on Xanax and a whole bunch of other stuff and got tackled and arrested in the bank. And I had 19 of them in my pocket. I was actually looking at 40 years in the penitentiary at one point.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah. So, but when I was in Senecor, the only kind of respite I had was church. And these Pentecostals would come, and it actually really started to resonate with me. And now that I'm 42, looking back, I have like always been on this like spiritually starved, almost like constantly. I almost became Muslim at one point in my life just because I knew I was looking for that. So the Pentecostals had stepped in, and then we were able to start going to Sunday service at the church. And I actually was given a vision, the first time I'd ever had a vision in my life. And that's when I became, I guess, I don't know what, chaotic to try to get out of this place. If I left, I had no choice but to go to jail. But I found StraightWay. I don't know, or my mom did, I don't remember. I left the program, went and talked to the judge, and then wound up in Hungerford. And that's how I got there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's kind of a story in itself, just even getting there, the beginning part of that. Wow.
Oh yeah. And oh my God, that place.
Whoa. So you get there and everything. And did you, for you at that time, do you remember how long the program part was?
That at StraightWay?
Yeah.
It was 18 months I was doing the long one.
Okay. Because I don't know how much you've listened to the other ones, but one thing that's been kind of a question that I've been asking, especially people that have been through the rehab part, is how long were you there? Because it seems like everybody went through like different periods, like a year, 18 months, 16 months. It's according to like whenever they tell God, they hear from God, you're allowed to go into the reentry phase now.
Yeah.
So what did you think when you got there and started?
At first I was relieved because I had only kind of been in the office, and then I got moved into that A-frame house that was across from Grandma Kursky's. Do you remember? There was
Was that the quad area?
Yeah.
Where the single moms were?
The A-frame.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like a triangle house. And then I was like, oh my goodness, this place is kind of sketchy, but okay, here we are. It's better than having to barter with my body to be able to eat in a public.
So you're there about a month, and then like once you have the first, I guess, encounter with Becky and the other person, was this like a counseling session, or was this just kind of?
It was a spiritual advising.
Was it because you got in trouble for something?
No, I think they were just kind of seeing where I was at, and they would do like she would have like this piece of paper out, and I'm trying to remember some of the beginning, because things didn't really get wild until midway, and just like getting in trouble for talking to the boys, profanity, like little things to start with. I can't think of anything else right like in the beginning that was crazy.
Yeah, maybe for some people, you coming from that kind of place when you first get there, like you said, to you it kind of looks probably a lot better than what you just had experienced right before. So I totally get that. I mean, that is what some people's experiences, that when you first get there, it may seem good. That's how it was for when I went as a little kid. My dad wasn't doing drugs anymore, he wasn't beating my mom. So to me as a little kid, that seemed great until you get into all the other bullshit that's going on. So I guess you're there and everything, and the first little bit is okay. And so you're midway in, and did you start seeing red flags like when you were still in the rehab part, or?
So there was nonverbal communication between two people that I noticed one was an elder and one was a group leader for the youth. And it was just blaringly obvious to me, but I have a way of being able to read silence with people. I'm trying to recall some more. And then there was a lot of other secret emotional relationships happening on campus with some students, and I think one leader, I'm not sure. And then the other big red flag that I had first noticed was how the pastor got his new wife.
Were you there? Oh, you were. Okay.
It was the story about it.
Okay. Yeah.
And there were a few people who weren't quiet about their dislike for it. But that she had gone through, and then he was like, "Oh, you're the one," and then. It wasn't until later on that I had started the rumor mill about the pain pill abuse had popped up also on, and then it was, I used to clean the pastor's house. That's what I did. I didn't babysit. I would clean.
Okay, I knew that you were somewhere in there. I couldn't remember exactly. Yeah,
just every once in a while. But I really ran the kitchen. That's really what I did. I was there all the time.
So you, whenever you cleaned the pastor's house and everything, did you ever find anything kind of weird or like?
Yeah. And just the behavior there was, you know, he always boasting and flaunting, and it was like, dude, I don't even care. You're expounding on parts of your life and your wealth that I don't care. Shut up. Because it doesn't make you who you are. That's a facet of you. So you know, yeah.
Do you recall what you found ever?
I remember seeing not just a bottle of pills, but a bag. I swear it was a bag of pills.
I don't doubt it.
And other bottles that had elders' names on it in the house.
Yeah,
for sure. Oh gosh. Do you want me to kind of focus on some of the bigger things that happened while I was there?
Yeah, you can. What were so you're cleaning the house. Sometimes you're in charge. I did not know you were in charge of the kitchen stuff, like the kitchen duty.
Like hardcore. It was we got a lot of donations for the food from like Walmart and other things like that, and then they would also back it with doing drives for money for food, and I'm like, but Walmart is giving you gobs of food. And then my parents were donating a lot of food, like a lot.
Did it? Well, I don't want to pry too much about this because this is your own family's business or whatever, but did you come from money? I feel like okay. And so, well, where I'm going with this is that it just seems like anybody that came from money or whatever, they kind of seem to lay off of them a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
A little bit, for sure. You get propped up.
Yeah, and you're not pulled. Maybe you are. I'm sure you were at some points, but you're not pulled into counseling as much. You're not reamed over the coals for every little thing. When it comes to money, and your parents are giving money, or you're giving money, like my dad, he was giving. Man, my dad would come and go. He would go. My dad had a whole nother family in a different country, you know, and he would come and go, and like, oh God, forgive me once again. Oh, and David's right hand. David's I'm like, oh, mother effort. Like, so
sorry, they remind me of some services like where there's like interpretive dance.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You're just like so embarrassed for them. You're like, stop.
I'm embarrassed thinking about it. It gives me horrible anxiety because I was one of the ones that did it. No, so everyone, what she's referring to is that like there was, on top of, we've kind of already explained some of what like the StraightWay team is, but like part of that was also, I guess, like the praise, I don't know what you would call it, kind of like praise team or something.
Yeah.
In some churches, I've seen other churches do this, but they really did it to an extent here.
Yeah. It's
like this interpretive dance. So you pick up like a Christian song or whoever's doing praise and worship, whatever song you do. And you're like doing this like interpretive like movement
with a ribbon or something.
You either have a ribbon or a flag, or a sash.
Yeah,
you're like,
But the lady that used to do it was not very fit and couldn't like kick very high. So
I just, some of these ladies did have like the sweetest hearts for God and everything. You know, they really had a sweet heart. I just don't think everybody's meant to be doing certain things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible, because a lot of these,
somebody really loved her, they'd be like, look, you look kind of ridiculous. I'm just gonna tell you.
Well, I looked ridiculous. Like I remember we looked ridiculous too, because we were like professional dancers. Because I've seen that type of dancing like on, you know, America's Got Talent or something, but those are professional dancers that are like, it looks almost like ballet-ish. This did not look like that.
No. Yeah, interpretive dance is meant to be like a cross between jazz and ballet. Yeah.
Oh my God. I just have these memories of doing it myself, and I'm just like, it gives me anxiety. Anyway.
When she would like do these little kicks, they're like fold. It's like she's trying to hold on to her diaper while she's kicking. It's like, oh geez, what's happening?
Oh my God. Oh Lord. Okay. I'm really not trying. I'm really in no way trying to make fun of like
No.
because those women aren't even there anymore. And I know that they do have like a heart for God and everything. I'm just not that. It's just the fact that just the stuff that they would make us do there. Like, you know what I mean? It's okay. So you're going halfway through the rehab part and everything, and you're on kitchen duty. And so what other red flags did you start noticing?
Let me think. Just a lot of double standards. Expecting a lot from the students, but not also like expecting certain behaviors and demeanors and attitudes and not seeing it mirrored. Things got really blurry for me, I think, because there was a time when I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. This is really intense. But also for us, someone in the program, I don't know if anyone else has ever said that this, like for the first 6 months, you have no books, no magazines, no TV, no contact with family because you're washing your mind in the word. Which is funny because it is brainwashing, but I mean, it wasn't that negative. Or at least I didn't think it was until I realized it was going to be held over me after a while. I mean, I guess just the big thing, God, man, wish I could draw, because I can visualize like different parts of when I was there. Like I can see the hallways and the doorway out to where the church and the kitchen were. And
do you think you may have like just blocked some of it out, kind of? Like,
kind of. There were a couple of students having sex that got caught, I remember. And I guess it was not really that big a deal, and then I got caught having sex.
Man, okay, you have to tell me with who after we're done. I'm so interested.
And it was like the weirdest decision. I don't even know why. I think I was just really deprived at that point because even self-pleasuring was really, really frowned upon.
Didn't you have to admit to that if you ever did that?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Confess your sins, like in that, because that was a sin. You could, like everything was like a sin, but they were doing it themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're like, no drugs, no adultery. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure your place is running off of that right now. So
yeah. Did you start getting a lot of or some demerits or getting pulled into counseling or?
Yes, I got into a lot of trouble when I got caught having sex. I don't remember how. I think I got just overwhelmed and told on myself. I feel like I don't.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was like this was before. It was in some part of a building that was just like torn down, like junky, and there were hallways, and there was a couple of students that would sneak in there and have sex.
That's funny. Was it the Ed Wing part where there were classrooms?
I feel like it might have been where the apartments are, and there's like a recording studio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. Those were old dormitories because that's where my family went when like the women with their kids who had a husband there too, that's where they were. That was, and then you had the recording studio. This was all, but at that time when you were there, it wasn't really used anymore, but for the recording studio part.
Right.
So I'm sure they snuck all around there. You wouldn't really think to go over there to catch. And I was scared to go over there because there was like snakes and spiders and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And the guy that had done that with, he said, I'm pretty sure he told me he would cover for Beck and the other person that they would go there. I think, and yeah, I remember him telling
Was,
me.
was he another student in the program or was
Uh-huh.
he? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it, but whatever.
Wow. So, so was there other things going on? I know that I kind of myself have a vague memory of you being there because I left. I was kind of, I think, on my way out whenever you came and everything.
Mhm.
And then I left and then you left a little bit after.
Mhm.
So I guess I knew of things that were going on. Did you guys know of some of the stuff too?
Like the adultery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it became really evident pretty fast, and plus everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
It was just so obvious.
Yeah.
Like the community, you can just tell. You can just tell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, there's an energetic bond that happens, and it's just you can just tell.
Mm-hmm. I look back now and I still wish I would have been someone that spoke up more. I was very shy, a very shy
Yeah.
person. It was hard for
Yeah.
me to even speak in general. Well, because I got made fun of growing up there. And then I started coming out of my shell as I got older and stuff, but I still wanted to speak up about that stuff because it was just like, oh my God, that's not real. That's not really happening. I didn't want to believe that it was actually happening. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm sure you guys you're trying to get your life right. You're trying to get your life back on track and
Yeah.
get off these things. And then you see all this other stuff going on. At that time, do you remember they had introduced the freedom of the spirit, they called it? Do you remember any of that? Like where they reintroduced drinking and.
Oh no, I must have left before that. But the big thing that pushed me out the door there was Pastor David was really displaying a messianic attitude, that he was in the direct lineage of Jesus Christ. I remember
Wait,
him
explain. Okay, yeah, explain what that means.
the messianic attitude.
Yeah.
So it means basically that you are adopting the idea or the ideology, or I guess just the idea that and he claimed that he was in the direct lineage of Jesus Christ. And he would say this on stage. And when that started happening, I started to become, and this, I was done with the program. I was just living there. They were starting to listen in on my phone calls with my family.
Was this on a cell phone or like on an actual landline?
On the landline that we would use in the office.
Did you know they were listening?
I didn't until it slipped and they told me. And I was like, what? And it's because my family isn't equally yoked, they said.
Oh.
So yeah. So but there's more to my exit story, but I'll get back to that. Another big thing that happened at the one that's probably burned in my mind pretty heavily is what happened with my classmate when her appendix burst. She had appendicitis really badly. And I knew she was ill. And I kept, she needs to go to the doctor. No, we were just gonna lay hands. No. And the one day, God, she'd been so ill and she managed to stand up and go to the class because they were badgering her to go to class. She walks back in the door and you hear this bang and she collapses. It was her appendix bursting. So it was an audible sound. Yes. And somebody to get help. They all come back and their lady is screaming in pain. And I am just going nuts on them. I'm like, you fucking bitches, you're killing her. You're killing her.
Oh my
God. Screaming. You're killing her. They still didn't take her to the hospital. That night, she was dripping in sweat and having massive seizures because her body was, all that poison was leaking out. And finally, it was over the dorm. I think she took her to the ER and they had to do emergency surgery. to take it out, and she was out for a while. And I had to. They all told you she was sick. I told you she was sick, and they did not like that. And it, like, the dynamics between me and the ladies are kind of changed after that. So I guess because I was right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I can't
know.
believe that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can.
that was the biggest thing, because they literally, that shit could have killed her. It really
Yeah.
could have killed her. And it's
And
scary.
they're just sitting there, just speaking in tongues, praying
Oh,
over
yeah.
her, right?
Literally. And there was like 4 or
Oh.
5 of women, and they were just steady praying over her. And I was like, you're killing her. I was
So what was the
screaming.
reason? What was the reason that they were saying we're not going to take her to the hospital?
Because the power of prayer could fix it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, so if I can kind of explain a little bit about, they would do that at times if they wouldn't really take you to the doctor or
Yeah.
go to the hospital. It was like you believed in the power of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if it got dire like that, which they ended up taking her, but it was the same thing with me. I mean, I've told this story on here before, but my appendix also burst when I was 10. I could have died. And they wouldn't take me to the doctor. And the only reason we found out that it was appendicitis is because there happened to be a nurse that lived there. She came and checked on me, and she's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is she needs to go. And I still, though, went to the doctor. I didn't go to the hospital, like, you know, like a doctor visit.
Yeah.
And he's like, she has to go into surgery ASAP. She's about to die. Like,
man, it's so wild.
Like, you're like, oh my God, what the hell? Yes, God, you know what? God uses doctors too, okay, to help people. Like,
I'm pretty sure we were explicitly taught that God's grace will pour out through, you know, Christian and non-Christian alike, and and his words will too. And so I don't know. And they did the same with me. I had I've like a violently pinched nerve in my back, and they laid hands, and I was like, yay. But they did it again, and actually I think I manifested the healing on my own because I wanted it so badly, because I was in so much pain. So in hindsight, giving it to them, I mean, they maybe helped, but it was my own intentions that really, you know, administered the relief I needed.
And I'm sure they were like, oh, you're healed because of God, because of the grace of God. Look, I myself, I believe in God. I believe in prayer. If prayer helps you, it's almost like a meditation for some people. And I do, but I also think they need to go to the freaking doctor or the dentist or whatever, or a therapist to help your brain.
A therapist would be great.
You know, I mean, I've talked about it several times. I mean, going to therapy or going to some kind of counseling or something that can help your brain too. You know, that is a good thing to help your brain comprehend trauma or different events in your life and everything.
Yeah. That's actually, hearing you say trauma, that's something else that so we used to always try to get to the root causes of things. But I don't think that journey ever really got completed for any of us. Because there was no addressing trauma with someone who was clinically able to listen and and recite back what they needed to recite back to you for therapy reasons. And it was, you know, I'm not, it's so funny because I feel a little convicted right now. I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to like blaspheme, because the word is alive. I do believe that still to this day. And I do believe that the word holds a lot of keys for our sake. But I don't think it's such a book that it has all the answers, and that just, you know, keeping that scripture in your heart posture just right, and you'll be, no, man. So
So why do you feel convicted? Which meaning like
Oh,
something in your heart feels, the only way I can explain it is something in your heart feels a little guilty or a little, I don't really know how to
so
explain
like,
that.
for personally, like when I say I'm feeling kind of convicted about this, it's like you have a wash of almost guilt, or you're questioning yourself, and it's kind of like this wrenching that's happening internally. I think that's all, that's our own soul and soul purpose, and or if people are still actually Christian, it's the Holy Spirit going, hey, but it's our own essence that's like, that's not in our DNA coding. That's not. So
Yeah, which for other people that could mean like, what is the word? Like when you have
we get,
the little guy on your shoulder, like this is wrong, this is bad, almost like an inner conscious type of thing.
Absolutely. And like if you're hearing a sermon and you feel conviction from the pulpit, that's a good thing, because that means in you, it's ushering change. It's to usher forth change instead of just sitting and feeling it,
Yeah, but the way they would do it is it wasn't just conviction, it was shame and guilt. You felt horrible about yourself. They would do it in such a way that you just felt so bad about yourself. And it wasn't like there's something else where there's like you feel bad about something, but then at the same time you're like, what can I do to change this and be a better person? Versus just going, holy shit, I'm a horrible person. Like, and that's what they would do. That's what they did to me. I don't know about you. Like I constantly had this, felt like I could never be enough. Just, what I mean?
I still struggle with that. So like one of my biggest root causes was probably self-hate, and and I probably still struggle with that. What were you saying right before?
I was trying to ask what was making you feel convicted, like right at this point when you said that.
I don't want to negate anything that's of Christianity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not an active Christian per se. I believe in the great I am. I believe my beliefs now is that Jesus was a yogi. Jesus was a yogi or a mystic. I also believe more in the Sumerian clay tablets, which the Bible comes from. The story of Noah was written by the Anunnaki in Sumer. It predates the Bible, so yeah.
Well, we all have different beliefs. We all come, as long as we get to that one place, we somehow get there,
Yeah.
And that's, here's the other thing and the difference. Me and you may believe a little bit different in our beliefs, but I would never be like, condemn you to hell and say you're going to hell because of this. I mean, that's what they would do. If you believe in this way, if you question what this is, you are what? You're going straight to hell.
Right. Or the unforgivable sin. That was another term that they threw around a bunch, and it was never really defined what the unforgivable sin was. And I think it was after reading and learning on my own, I think it was just blaspheming the Holy Spirit. But that term was tossed around a lot, and I think just to kind of keep you in check. And also it's like so I was saying that there wasn't like someone who was clinically capable of processing with the students. So it was like they would, we'll read this scripture, we'll study this, we'll do that, and it was just it's replacing. So it's almost like trading one addiction for another. Do you know what I mean?
That is a really good way to put that.
Yeah, and it really kind of clicked a little while ago. I was like, oh crap, it's just replacement. So and it's feeding something, and also so you're getting some sort of endorphin dump, and that's one of the big causes of addiction. You either, you don't want to be yourself, and you don't want to feel this way, and so that was a whole new way of being, which works in favor for them, because the soft mind makes them pliable and become who they want.
That's
Right?
very true. I was just talking about that in my last podcast about how they didn't use professional people to help these students that are going through this. You
Yeah.
need like actual therapists and actual people that are trained and know what to do. I mean,
Right.
they would put some of us that were teenagers, 17, 18, as dorm supervisors or as leading some of the girl students and certain things. Like, yeah, just like you said, there needs to be professionals doing this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the blind leading the blind here. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's why students started having sex and all that kind of stuff. So, because there was just, well, go find the scripture, replace it with the word, replace it with the word. All right, well, what I do with this trauma.
Oh, very true.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that was one of the final red flags for you was your, I don't want to call her sister, your
my
friend,
classmate. Yeah.
Your classmate going through that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you leave soon after that? Was there any other?
No, I stuck around after I graduated because I was working the kitchen and I was living in the upstairs apartments above the church and the gym. And I had got, so my big exit event, I had gone out for a drink and I guess I got drugged or something. Yeah. Because I remember coming through at one point and there were two men doing things to me. And I kind of and after I kind of woke up, I kind of phased out again. And it's so strange because my mom had gotten me a rental car and I was in a rental. And I remember I came back through and we were at a gas station in Houston. And for a long time, I thought I had been carjacked, but I got some memories unlocked not too long ago. And then I was like, oh, they were there prior to this. So I thought I'd been carjacked when I finally was like, because I was in the back and I was very incoherent. My head hurt like I'd been hit also. And there was these two gentlemen driving the car. And for 3 days almost, they drove me around. Yeah. From house to house trying to sell me.
Holy crap.
Oh God, girl. And I remember at least a day and a half, I never stopped crying or begging to be let go. Constant. It was, I don't know. I guess it was that was the last night. They'd gone, taken me somewhere else. Whatever had happened, I'm like weeping. I just had never stopped crying, just weeping the whole time, like trying to be annoying. And they took me into this guy's house, and finally I'm begging this person. I've never met this person. He's like naked. I'm just like in a wreck. I'm like, please help me get away. Please help me get away. And I guess he tells, and they beat the living crap out of me. Those men, they beat the shit out of me, strangling me and smashing my head against a window. And and we go to this other apartment complex and it's more of like a city area. I wish I could, but they both get out and they go up the stairs and they never locked the car. So I got out. Some people saw me, but I remember making eye contact with people that were looking over a balcony, and I just started running. I made it to a convenience store. And I'm like begging this guy for the phone and he wouldn't let me use the phone. And I was like, can I hide? Where can I hide? And he wouldn't help me, the clerk. And there was a guy and he was like, do you need money for a payphone? And I was like, please, please, please. I call my mom and I'm just hysterical. And I guess I was so focused on talking to my mom, they had found me and they took the phone from me and they were demanding ransom from my mom.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I there's a break in my memory there, but the next thing I remember was it's daylight. It must have just become daylight when we are at I think we're at one of the guys' mother's home. Then they were, it was like such a scramble to do something. And I managed to crawl in the front seat because the car was running. And I started to back out, and the guy, it was just one guy now, and his mom came running out. I almost ran over like this 80-year-old woman. I didn't care. I took off with all the doors were open on the car, and I'm just driving. I'm just getting out of there. And I get back and I go back to the center. Yeah. And
Okay, first of all, I just want to make the guys you were talking about weren't guys from the center, right?
no, I don't know who they were.
Okay, they were just some random guys that, oh my
Yeah.
God. Were you out by yourself whenever that first night?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. And it was like, yeah.
So instead of going back to your mom's, you go back to the center.
Yeah, because it was the closest, because they had been taking me around Houston from person to person. Yeah. And I knew that I was going to be in a lot of trouble, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But it was dealing with the police that was the hardest, because they just treated me like a junkie and a prostitute. They could care less. I got sent from precinct to precinct to precinct, telling my story. They didn't care. They could care less.
Was it because you were like currently at a rehab facility? And
yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've had another episode of my life where again, I had been drugged and I didn't know what was happening to me, so I called the cops on myself because I was like, what's happening to me? And that when I was in the ambulance, I knew I was, usually they'll send you to like a psych ward for a week. And I was just like, you treat us like numbers. We're mental health, or we're drugging victims, where you just treat us like cattle, just freaking out on them, because it stemmed from that.
Well, I'm sure. Oh my God. Wow. I mean, that alone, I know the center can be traumatizing, but that alone in itself is very traumatic.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you went through all that.
Oh, it's all right. I grew up in so much. I'm going to write a book when I turn 50, probably, because I've been through so much. I don't know how I'm alive. I don't know how I'm still alive.
Grace to God, man. Grace to God.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a purpose. So,
Jeez.
yeah, so I stuck around for a little bit, but that's when, but when the phone calls were being monitored, and then they were stopping allowing me to call my family at all. And mind you, by this point, my parents weren't really donating anymore because I wasn't an active student. Then they were like, we don't think you need to call your family this week. And my mom and dad came to get me for a holiday, and they were like, what is going on? And we hadn't even made it out of Wharton, I guess. And I was telling her everything that was happening, and she turned around and said, do you not want to go back? I said, no. And we just never went back. And my parents sent the police to get all my stuff.
Wow.
My dad went, and then he came with the sheriffs to get my stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of like a rescuing me out of their thing.
So just go back real quick. What did they do when they found out about
what happened? I don't really remember. I'm pretty sure I got put on a ton of restrictions.
You just had been through hell and back, and you're getting in trouble.
Yeah. I know that I never got any kind of counseling or talked to, which made me shut down even more. There was already, I had already had some shame for sexual deviance earlier. And then, so this just like made it even worse. They were like, oh, well, I guess it was me being narcissistic for a moment, like, I don't want them to think this is like typical of me. But that whole event was so weird. It's so weird.
I cannot believe that. Oh my gosh.
It's so weird.
You know, anyone in their right head being like,
Yeah.
what just happened?
Yeah.
Holy shit. What? No. Okay. What do you need? Like, you know, would be like, okay, let's go. I mean, did anybody go to the police station with you or like?
No, no,
Yeah.
my
Like,
mom wound up coming down, but that was it.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
kind of in astonishment right now. I'm like, oh my God, that story
yeah.
is just wild.
It's a big
I
story.
can't believe, I mean, you
I-
survived for a reason. That's all I'll say.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, oh,
Yeah, so
geez.
on my, I always like have this resume. I'm like, yeah, I've been shot, stabbed, had my neck broken, been crushed by a car, and kidnapped and held for ransom, and I'm still here.
Yeah, you could be writing a book or a screenplay
Yeah.
or
Yeah, I definitely want to write a
man.
book. I definitely want to write a book for young girls who are like 10 to 14 because it's such a pivotal time in our life. It's so pivotal. And if there's not a man in our lives that's showing us what love is, and it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I have a message to any male viewers. If you have a young daughter, you better court her and love her and make her know what how special it is to be a girl and what the expectations are for love.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree. So you get out, your parents, I mean, thank God for your parents, you know, getting you out and everything.
Yeah.
So once you get out, did people start trying to call you and like, where are you? Or
No, not really. It was just kind of like, but I think the exit was so dramatic with the police coming to help collect my things and stuff. I think they left it alone. And
they may have just been like, well, good riddance.
Probably
something like that. Yeah.
I'm sure that they had painted a whole different narrative.
Oh, I can most guarantee it. I kind of want to talk to someone there now that was there right after you to see what they actually said.
Yeah,
about,
I would like to
about
know.
It because
like
I can tell you right now they probably lied about it. They lied about me when I left.
And, here's my cat. Look, he's got a drinking station. Hi, say hi, buddy.
Is he hissing?
No, he has a little water station on my headboard.
Oh, okay. What is his name?
That's Samson, but I call him Buddy.
Samson.
He's so thirsty.
I
know.
I love animals. Well, I'm more of a dog person, but I love all animals.
Yeah.
So, well, thank God you got out. Did you, and like after you got out, you moved to Sugarland because that's when me and you started becoming friends. And to be honest, I don't even remember how we met or anything. I mean, I knew you from the center. I just don't remember how we met back up.
I don't either.
Yeah. We started hanging out quite a bit, had some really good times, and then you ended up moving. Do you think, well, you kind of explained some of it, but where do you think your faith is now? Like,
so yeah, I don't go to church. I have a hard time with churches because I just think it's for, this is such a weird word to say nowadays, and I don't know why I feel weird saying it. It's for enslavement of your mind, and it's for enslavement. The building itself, and it's for money. They want your money, and they want to keep you a little bit fearful because you've got a little more cortisol firing off, and that's going to make you more submissive. But okay, so I can still reference the Bible whenever I need to. It's all in my head still. And it does sometimes, scripture will just come to me, and I know I must have needed it at that time. I believe in the great I am. But I also believe in the power that we hold. We have prayers. The Christian term for prayers, I think, is what today we would call manifestation or incantation to manifest. And that's basically what that is. Like, especially if you're trying to manifest something really hard, the problem is we'll tend to ruminate on that manifest, wanting it, but you're repelling it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a term we all know, it's like, let go and let God.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something you literally have to do when you're manifesting. Like if you can manifest and then release it, almost forget it,
Mm-hmm.
you're giving it up to God or the universe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with prayers, I think too.
Mm-hmm.
It's all been not, I guess, manipulated. That just seems like such a derogatory term. It moved in such a way to fit in this box.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I see what you're saying on some level. I do think that church can be a good thing. There are different aspects that can be encouraging and that can be uplifting, but I understand the other part of it too. For me personally, it is kind of hard to attend church. I still haven't really been able to give money to a church because I'm just so messed up from like giving all my funds to the center and then building $1 million home for the pastor.
Right. Well, everybody lived in 1970s trailers.
Yeah. And then he lived in something else. But yeah, that's I do like to go every once in a while, but it still is a little difficult to the whole church aspect and everything. But
it's funny because the one thing that came out of all this is like my standards for church. Like if you're not like worshiping or praising, like all like gritty in it, I'm like, oh, this place sucks. Or there's not
if it's more like mellow or something, or not as
like my parents go to Cowboy Church, and so I mean I've gone there, and the pastor's the cutest, but God, it just like drones on, and then I start judging, and I'm like, these people don't even read the Bible enough to even like let it affect them in any way. And people are sitting in here thinking of other people. Well, I'm literally thinking of the other people.
Yeah. Sometimes it becomes such a mind game in church. You're like, oh, just shut down, mind, and just let me just like relax.
Yeah. I remember that reminds me that I was getting in trouble a lot because I wouldn't practice in my prayer. I wouldn't go to my prayer closet, and they kept trying to show me how to do it. Like get on all fours, mumble to the Lord. And
like have your personal prayer time. You were like,
why don't you just be like,
why don't you just lie about it? Oh yeah, I did the 20 minutes, whatever.
I think at one point I was getting checked on or something. I think it was part of a punishment for the whole prayer closet. And I was
oh God.
Where
do you go for your prayer closet whenever you're in a room full of girls and they're all bunk beds?
We had access to some of the study rooms in the wing of the school. Yeah. I remember that.
Oh man. Wow. Well, you definitely have been through a lot, and there's a reason you're still here. I think it's, you have such awesome, like perseverance and everything you've been through, and that's awesome. I mean,
thanks.
Lordy, thank goodness for your parents and for I'm sure there's been other people in your life too that have helped along the way. I know for me, I couldn't have I may not have made it this far without some of the girlfriends in my life. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think God brings certain people in your life at a certain time, and
absolutely,
I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful that I got to, even though I feel like most of the time we were going out and stuff, I have baby parties stuff. I'm very grateful that I got to know you during that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for doing this. Do you have anything else to add, or?
Not that I can think of.
Like any other crazy stories?
I know.
Did you catch anyone?
No, I mean, after I had been gone for a couple of years, I felt weird about how I had left for some reason. I even like wrote a letter, sorry I left this way, and I think I went back one day for just like a service. Did I? Or I stopped by or something. And to this day, I still get emails or messages, donate, donate, donate. I'm like, why? Do you
yeah.
go to Italy again?
For the 20th time for a month.
God.
Oh yeah, they just get drunk half the time too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, but they do a little bit of preaching mixed in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Oh Lordy, Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it has been great catching up.
Yeah.
And we'll talk soon. Well, we'll continue talking after this because I want to know a few more deep.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, thank you everyone so much for joining. And if anyone would want to email or has a story to add, you can email at cultsandOvercoming@gmail.com. I have the Facebook page now that you can like as well, just Cults and Overcoming on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
I hope everyone has a good evening. Well, if you are in the evening time, I don't know.
Yeah.
But bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait, no, cancel. I'm not doing this. Wait.
Ah.
Are you sure?